I believe there's a hero in all of us.
You have great powers, only some of which you have as yet discovered.
I'm a superhero,
a real-life superhero.
The world needs extraordinary. We will make you a superhero.
Are you ready to become a hero?
Initiating surprise in 3.
This,
2,
is
1.
The Real Brian Show.
You know, I'm bouncing like Captain does here. You know, a while back, we did an episode titled The Real Brian is Not a Nerd, and most of you laughed very hysterically at it. Hurt my feelings. I cried, actually, at your laughter. But today, we're exploring how big of a nerd Brian really is, talking about myself in the third person. Brian thinks this today. And because it's Friday, we do have a lot of other things to nerd out on, stuff like the new lightsaber plug and blade that Sabertrio just sent me. I haven't even opened it yet. I'm so excited. Orville Season 3, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Captain's new tricycle. Bicycle, Neckbeards, and more.
Look, I've gone and caught a sniffle.
Are you expected?
Do not take that tone with me, my good man. Now battle off and tell Baron Brunwald that Lord Clarence MacDonald and his lovely assistant are here to view the tapestries.
Tapestries?
Dear me, the man is dense. This is a castle, isn't it? There are tapestries.
This is a castle, and we have many tapestries. And if you are a Scottish lord, then I am Mickey Mouse.
How dare he?
Let's rock it. Oh, right in the smacker.
You are such a complete nerd, Brian.
Do you actually?
I don't know
that?
a bigger nerd than you, honestly. Like dork is more like how I would describe you. You're kind of a dork, and that's a good thing. That's not derogatory at all.
Both nerd. Somebody, okay, so we did a big thing a while ago about geek and nerd.
Yeah.
And talking about what's the difference between a nerd and a geek, and there's a lot of different theories out there that, nerd is more like a book smart, sits in the library, knows math, whatever, right? And they're more like a scholastic nerd, right? That's the word I'm looking for. Or they'll like Star Trek, and I'm like, well, yeah, I like Star Trek, so that doesn't work. Yeah. But and then geek is more going to be like pop culture, superheroes, that kind of thing. And I thought, well, I don't like the term geek, so I think nerd just sounds better and it's fun, so I'm a nerd, yeah. But I said I wasn't, and people didn't believe me.
I get, and dork is more like somebody who, I don't know, wears a bicycle helmet.
Yeah, like kind of the social awkward person, socially inept.
Right. Yeah.
We celebrate the socially inept, by the way.
For them,
yeah, those people. I don't really understand, but hey, so we are going to talk about the whole nerddom today, and I'm kind of curious to know how much of a nerd you think I am, and do I deserve to be crowned the title, the nerd of all nerds?
Or the dork of all dorks.
I'm not going to go with dork, though. I just can't do it. I can't do it, man. By the way, really quick, before I forget, this smells like Himalayan. I got my little Pilates mug here. Himalayan, yes. The Himalayan food, in a cup. Oh, my gosh. I'm doing that pu'er kier chai again because, my gosh, it's so good.
Anytime you say chai, my mouth waters. Honestly.
Yeah, it's succulent.
Yeah.
That's a fun word, succulent.
It is.
Welcome to the Real Brian Show. Thank you for joining us. There is not a better way to spend your Friday, or any day, I guess, depending on when you're watching or listening to this, than right here at this show. And if you think there's a better way,
you're wrong.
You're wrong. Yes, you're wrong. That's right. All right.
No, that's okay. We're all wrong sometimes. So
exactly.
It's nothing against you. Yeah.
Okay. I thought I was wrong once, Captain, but I was mistaken. My hair, I don't know what's going on. I came here, I put on my headphones, I looked at myself, I'm looking at myself right now on the screen, and I'm like, something happened.
Your hair looks great. What are you talking about?
I don't know, but it's the weirdest thing. But then your hair is looking kind of plasticky, and I'm trying to understand, like, who's your stylist, man? Because
it's a lot of gel. That's the key. Remember back in the 80s when you always put gel in your hair all the time? Back in the 80s, maybe even in the 90s.
The hairspray. You remember what was that stuff? Aquanet or something like that,
Yeah.
Made a great flamethrower, by the way. They don't make that stuff anymore. Yeah, you could sort of match.
It was a cheap flamethrower.
Yeah. Very dangerous. They don't do that anymore, so you can't get that.
No.
But how did you get that?
When I was in middle school and high school, I don't know, because when I was in middle school and high school, I used a lot of gel in my hair. I didn't have, it wasn't like 50s, like where they had the grease.
That was
like
Brill cream, dude. Yeah.
It was just that whatever position I put my hair in, gel locked it in, and it was tight.
Yeah.
So,
do you remember in the 1890s? I mean, the stuff we put in our hair back then was wow. I mean, the 1890s, man, that was a really fun time. Anyway, I'm sorry, I digress.
I did get a bike.
Oh, hey, a bike. All right. So wait, hold on. Is it, you said to me that, what did you say? Like the only way that I'm getting an e-bike is when I'm old and like can't move or something like that. Or I've given up on life. That's what it was. I'm old and I've given up on life.
Did I say that? Because that sounds really derisive.
It was harsh, man. It was mean.
Yeah, because you have an e-bike and I knew that, and I wouldn't say that.
And I felt insulted. I keep getting insulted by people, man. I mean, all these people.
I would have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have been insulted too.
Yeah,
no, I got
really.
I got a regular able-bodied person's bicycle this last weekend. And
thanks.
And I was at this bike shop for like 2 hours. And by the way, the bike shop was busy. I mean, it's still quote unquote after COVID.
Yeah.
It's still as rocking as it would have been, during. And
that's good.
Were they even rocking during? I don't know. But anyway, they were really busy. But this guy took like he spent a couple hours with me trying to pick a bike out, and I test rode several, and I landed on one that's very similar to the one that I had from 1988, the Diamondback mountain bike I had, $300 Diamondback mountain bike I had from 1988.
Yes,
got me through high school, got me through college. It's just been collecting dust in the garage for a while because it tires are all screwed up and the gears need work, and it just needed a lot of work. So I figured it was about time to get a new bicycle, and because there's some good trails here near my house that I'm just itching to get to. I got myself a Camelback.
Oh yeah.
I got a helmet.
Yeah. I'll have to see the helmet later.
Yeah, I'll show you the helmet sometime. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I got a lock for it, and so I'm looking forward to this coming weekend if it's not raining.
Spandex bike shorts?
No, I'm not going there yet. Not going there yet. The little padded butt,
Yeah.
I
supposed to save you from having, sore butt. I mean, I don't know what they call that.
And I probably should get something
sore
like that.
Sore buttatitis or something?
We'll see. Yeah. Sore buttatitis is what I'm worried about. It's a Trek frame with a Shimano gear thingy. And
very nice.
And it's a nice bike. It's an aluminum frame. It's very lightweight. It's the most lightweight bike I've ever owned.
That's cool.
It's huge because I'm big.
Yeah.
And so it was a fun experience, and I'm glad. And it will, Brian, almost certainly be the last bike I ever own the rest of my life.
I hope so. I hope that. Well, it's so funny because I got my e-bike last year. Then, Lord Thunder jumps in and he gets his e-bike, which was awesome. Let me rephrase that. He got a mountain bike first and then was kicking some butt out there and having some fun. And he got out because he does these hills in California and stuff like that.
He's a serious cyclist. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really, really fun. And then he ended up getting a low, what do you call it? Low power e-bike or something like that. So it's only, I think 240 watts or something of motor power. So it's not designed to propel you and just kind of, go along for the ride.
It's a throttle e-bike. It's an assist e-bike.
And even then it's not intended to give you that much assistance. Like it's still intended for you to really work hard, but it gets you over the 700-foot incline kind of thing.
See, and I was kind of thinking that is it high or low gear? Low gear, is that where you spin your pedals really fast and
that would be that's a
less resistance.
Low gear, yep.
I always thought that was for big hills.
It is, but keep in mind when you're going up a big hill like that, that's pretty intense, man.
Yeah, I guess
it's fun.
Yeah.
I know. Well, one of these days you'll join the able-bodied geniuses and get an e-bike, but no, I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. So. I like your bike, and I think that's really, really cool. And a Trek is a good bike, and one of our friends works for Trek, and he says good things about them. So
the other interesting thing about the shop I was at, they have two shops. It's called Bike World, and they have two shops in Des Moines. And one of them, I went to the smaller one because it's near my house. The other one is a much larger shop, and they have a warehouse there.
Bike Universe.
He said the one that I went to is full of bikes. They have, they're just 2 floors of bikes. And he told me that they have like 20-some thousand units on back order.
Oh my gosh.
Because people want this bike in this size, but they have that bike, but they don't have it in that size or that color. And so people are waiting months to get something they don't have in stock because of supply chain, Yeah. So I just couldn't believe they have all this stock, but they still had thousands and thousands of units on back order. That was interesting. So,
that's what I ran into when I was looking for a bike too, because I would go in and ask for bikes, and you'd see at least hundreds of bikes, all over the place. And these were smaller shops. And I would say, what do you have for someone 6'4"? And they kind of looked at me and they're like, we have one bike, literally. And it was not at all what I was looking for. It was I think that one was actually one of those racing road bikes. So not at all. I mean, really, you're hunched over. It's like the one where you're almost like.
That's the first bike I tried, by the way, one of those. So
yeah, it takes getting used to be honest. And that's not what I was looking for. I was looking for more of a, sitting straight, good posture kind of bike. Even mountain bikes, they didn't have anything. Even e-bikes, they didn't have anything. It was all, I think, medium and smalls for the most part. And they had a couple larges, and that was it. And, I guess I'm in the extra large category at 6'4". So
they don't always have the exact frame size that for everybody who comes in the model and price point that they want, et cetera. So, or
the color. I was going for a pink bike, and they just didn't have any.
Yeah.
I was really disappointed. Yeah.
Yeah. Hot pink, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Oh yeah, you've got that whole late 80s vibe going. So.
Totally, man. Yeah, in fact, I'm going to go for
hot pink with blue letters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Give me a good idea. Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, congratulations on the new bike and helmet and the lock and all that good stuff. And when you have a chance and you'd like to, please show us your helmet. That would be awesome. But in the meantime, thank you.
Maybe I'll show it off someday. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the challenge in a fun way. Bike as much as you can. And enjoy it, do for fun, and get as many miles in and see what happens and see how your body starts to respond. And it's great. Lord Thunder and I share on the Apple Watch. I guess you can do this on your phone too, but the health exercise app, So we share each other's stuff. That way it's just, it's more for like, I did a bike ride yesterday and he wrote back and he was like, well, that was cute. A little rabbit emoji. I'm like, I was laughing so hard. I'm like, that was awesome. So that's good motivation to be like, all right, who's going to become the greatest bicyclist of all time? Definitely not
between
me.
You two, yes. Yeah.
Well, between the three of us now.
Oh, the three of us.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. You can join in on our little
wrangle me in on
our bike duel. Speaking of duels, we're going to be doing a duel here coming up, and I want to talk about this. But first of all, I want to do a big shout out. So over the weekend, this last weekend and all that, we just had the best freaking time ever with my cousins who came through. And by the way, Paul, Stephanie, Clara, Emmy, James, Owen, hello, shouting out to all of you guys. It was really, really cool. We hadn't seen them in years, Captain. And, we've been in touch throughout the years, and it's like sometimes, we hadn't seen them in a while, but it's interesting how you hadn't missed a beat. And I've told you, Captain, that I've done some gaming with Paul, and the kids. And I'm telling you, these guys are amazing. They're some of the best gamers.
I want to join you guys in some Battlefront one of these days.
Oh, yeah.
Battlefront 2.
Thieves?
Sorry.
If we can get Sea of Thieves working on your computer, you can do that too.
Yeah, it doesn't work on my machine anymore. That's a whole nother story.
I know. We'll have to get that going. But I know, and it is a blast. It's fun. And Owen, 4 years old, man, I'll tell you what, he can take out stormtroopers, but it's fun. So when they were here though in person, it's like, you get a chance to kind of do this, but we just had like the best time. So many conversations. It was so funny. So my cousin Paul, who's, like I said, about 6 years apart, we're kind of similar in personality, but I didn't realize we were, like that similar and stuff like that. And we just had so many really fascinating and excellent and encouraging conversations. But I think what was amazing to me is, I've not alluded to too much here on the show just because we want to keep it positive. But obviously the last 2 years has been a struggle for all of us. As primarily an extrovert, it's even been harder on me, and other extroverts out there because of not being able to see each other. It's definitely getting a lot better now, of course. Yeah. And then, there's always the typical as an entrepreneur and stuff, and you just kind of struggle. And I'm not going to go into too much and all that, but having them here was the only word that I can come up with was like absolutely healing for me. Mm. And I don't know why that was the word. I don't know how it actually worked that way, but it was just so amazing. Yeah. And, we really got to connect with them on a significantly deeper level than we really ever have. And it was only, a couple days. And I was just like, oh man, I wish we had more time and stuff like that. But it really was this incredible, like, re-inspiration, motivation, rejuvenation, you know, that I haven't had in a while, that I've needed. And, you know, it's hard to, it's so interesting because I have really great, you know, people in my life, but it's interesting when you have a moment with someone and then all of a sudden you experience something and then you're like, how did that happen? Why did that? I don't know. It was amazing. So anyway, it was so much fun. And like I said, I'm going to call them the Padawan cousins, you know, the kids, because they're Padawans. Yeah, they're Padawans. Right. Well, anyway, here's the deal. They're some of the funniest people, by the way. And let me just say that I don't say this about a lot of kids, but these kids were like the best. And really, they're absolutely amazing. So, you know how it is. Like,
you won't tell them to get off your lawn, will you? No.
No, I'm not going to get off my lawn. No, though, they're awesome. So we had these hilarious conversations throughout the time that they were here. And some of them involved, you know, the gaming and all that. And then at one point, I was talking with Paul and we were just kind of like, he said something about needing to shave or whatever. I'm like, no, actually, I kind of dig, you know, the new look. It was kind of, you know, growing back, not just, you know, the goatee kind of thing. And I said, you know what I really need to do is grow a neck beard. And, you know, James is like, oh yeah, that's awesome. You know, and Claire's like, gross. That's the most disgusting thing ever. And I was like, just because she said it was disgusting, I have to do it now.
Oh, dude, I've never seen you in all these years. I've never seen you with a beard at all. So having a neck beard, you know, right now I have a little bit of one.
Yeah, but you've got the beard too. Yeah.
But then I have the rest of my beard. Yeah. So
so the challenge is to have literally complete shaved clean on the face, but then from the, you know, down here, down the neck, from the chin below all the way down, you know, to the top of the shirt, essentially
go. Yeah.
Looks like, you know, a rodent is attached to your neck type of neck beard. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So
Sarah's going to hate it.
I hope you're serious because that will be really, really funny. I don't think you can go out. Claire's going to have to run all your errands for you. You can't go out on your bike. You can't go to the grocery store.
Well,
you can't go to the coffee shop anymore.
You got to go for the full beard effect first.
Oh, okay.
So you got to grow that way. You can actually live life and do your thing. So you go for the full beard, and then as soon as you're ready, you just shave clean the face, leave the neck beard. Got to go somewhere fancy, like, you know, Himalayan, you know, or I don't know, some Starbucks or something, and just walk in and just smile, you know, and they'd be looking at you like, so the kids suggested Walmart, and I said that probably wouldn't be all that different.
Yeah. It would though, because what I'm thinking of is literally like just your neck, and nobody does that. Nobody.
No, it's disturbing.
Even with a full beard, if you have that in addition to a full beard, you're going to look really silly. So a neck beard, by the way, is a derogatory term for a gamer who just stays in the basement all day and plays games and doesn't shave and doesn't shower. Yeah, they call them neck beards.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, if you become a neck beard, Brian, I know it'll be very briefly.
Literally, though, not figuratively, at least. I don't live in the basement, you know.
I hope you do this because it will be very, very funny. And it better you than me. Let me just say that.
Well, I was going to say, will you join me?
Well, I mean, I'm not prone to looking really silly in public. So,
but at least on the show. And when you come out
on the show,
to visit,
I mean, when have I looked really, really dumb on the show?
I don't know. I mean, never probably, but I'm thinking that you could come out and join us.
I'm not going to take up this challenge.
Oh, come on.
I'm not. No. Neckbeards are seriously disturbing.
I know they are. That's the point. So what Clara had written me, which was hilarious, was a bunch of emojis with, like, you know, the woman doing this, you know, like stop kind of thing, and like crying emojis and please don't. And I'm like, you know, I get it. It's disgusting. That's why I have to do it just once. You know, we'll do one video. Maybe I'll even do like a you know, fear the neck beard kind of just a quick video and zoom in on it, you know, and have like really horror music, like Psycho, you know, wee, just kind of going in the background. Everyone's like, that's the most terrifying, disgusting thing ever. And that'll be it. And then I'll shave it and I'll be fine and back to normal. But
Oh, and you won't be able to wait to shave it. That'll be the funniest part.
Oh my gosh. I think it's going to bother me, actually, if I even consider it. doing this, but I have to do this. I have to.
Well, I think it's very doable. You just go out in public with a scarf on, and you just be one of those dudes, and kind of walk around with your arms like this and kind of like that, and walk around with a scarf on in the middle of the summer, and people won't think twice about it if you walk the walk.
What? A lot of those guys, remember the old fashioned style. Once again, going back into the 1800s. You remember those days. We were alive then, so you remember. When
Fred remembers those days. Our buddy Fred, he remembers.
Ed might too. Do you remember though when they would wear these silk scarves, the men would, and then they would kind of be tied up in a nice, almost like an ascot style, but it was not an ascot tie. Then they wore the nice coats, but instead of doing an actual tie, it was a silk scarf that was done in a very classy way.
Kind of like at least one of Doctor Who, right?
Yeah. Didn't
that one Doctor Who from the 70s and 80s dress like that? He had that scarf around and then the coat.
Yeah, see, I'm thinking librarians, when he would do it. So I'm just thinking, though, that could be a really, really cool look for a little while. And then it's like, you rip the scarf off and everybody just, runs in terror. I mean, I'm not kidding, man. There would be mass panic if somebody saw this neckbeard.
There'd be mass pointing and laughing for sure.
No, there would be panic, man. I might have to call the police first and say, I'm going to do this. Can you please do some crowd control just in case, get them to be like, oh yeah, no problem. We'll take care of that.
Yeah. We
don't want any riots.
They can put cones out and stuff.
Yeah. See the man with the neckbeard. Come see, it's $10.
No, it'd be cones to keep people away.
No, you can, but then you could do $50 if they want to come take a picture with me.
Oh, I guess if you want to monetize it, that's not bad.
Could monetize it. Yeah, I like that. Clara was saying, hey, Brian, if you grow this neckbeard, you're going to look like a nerd, which actually, now that you've educated me, Captain, with
a dork.
Well, no, but the whole idea that a neckbeard is a nerd gamer living in the basement, whatever you said it was. And I thought, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Now I know. So she said, you're going to look like a big nerd. And I said, well, thank you. I mean, I already am a nerd. And so then I said, well, if I'm a nerd, what does that make you? And there was this pause, and she said, well, the bigger nerd, of course. She said, I am the nerd of all nerds. That's what she said. And I said, wow, that's a mighty statement right there.
That is. That's a very confident statement too. I mean,
it is. Yeah. And I appreciate that because, what is it? Nerd and proud. We need to get a shirt that says that. Nerd and proud.
Nerdy and proud.
Yeah. I like that. And so then there was the discussion about, who's the bigger nerd and everything. And then it turned into who's the better gamer. And I was
then it got interesting.
Yeah. Well, so I was trying to be like, well, first of all, this is actually true. I was, because I've told you this, Captain. I'm like, she's great at Sea of Thieves. Mm-hmm. And I said, you'd have fun playing with them because, they're good and it would be a good challenge and stuff. And so then she said, well, yeah, clearly I'm the better gamer or something like that. I'm the better gamer. And I'm like, apparently we need to have a duel to find this out. So then it's turned into this, let's call it a war. We're going to call it a war. It's a full-on declared World War III here about who the better gamer is. And she's confident she's going to whoop me, basically. So the question is, should we do a 1v1 challenge here in, let's say, Battlefront 2, maybe even Sea of Thieves as well, but we'll do like a best out of 5 kind of thing, And so what I'm asking you to do, and Captain, you can join me in this one too, but I'm asking you to vote. Who do you think the bigger nerd is? I know you don't know Clara, but who do you think the bigger nerd is? Me or Clara? And who's the better gamer? Okay. And then we're going to vote now.
Right.
Sight unseen.
You got to have the contest before we vote.
No. It's a vote to think, who do you think's going to win? Who's going to claim the title of the best gamer and the nerd of all nerds? Who's going to claim that? And by the way, whoever doesn't win has to claim the title of the worst gamer or, something like the nerd wannabe or whatever. We'll figure out a funny term for that. But you have to vote now. Who do you think's going to win? And then it's going to be like cheering the team on, so then we'll record the video, we'll record the duels, and then we'll put them out somehow.
Okay.
So what do you think, Captain? Who are you voting for? Who do you think? Okay. Man,
you're the bigger nerd for sure. She's the better gamer for sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Come on. She's training at a young age. You just don't have the reflexes I guarantee she has. So yeah, that's my vote.
I'm insulted.
You shouldn't be.
Okay. All right. Well, you heard it here first. So cast your votes. If you're watching on YouTube, definitely cast your votes in the comment section. You can email me, trb@realbrianshow.com. You can just, send in a comment. I don't care. But somehow cast your votes. Who is the bigger nerd? Who's going to win that title? And who's the better gamer? Who's going to win that title? And then we're gonna go for it, man. Here's my theory. I fully believe Soon she will call me master.
I have no doubt. Master nerd.
Oh, okay. Dude,
yeah.
Guess what? So
What?
you know how I did that Sabertrio review?
Yes.
I
was
have,
good.
Yeah. Well, thank you, by the way. I appreciate that. They loved it. And I was very, very, it's always one of those things where it's like, let me do a review. And then you contact a company and say, here you go. Here's a review. I hope you guys like it, kind of thing. And honestly, that was the very first official review that I've ever done, separate from what we do here on the show. And they loved it. And so I mentioned that they were going to send out a heavy grade blade. So in my review, I mentioned I had a mid grade. You can do some dueling, but you don't want to go and, smack each other really, really hard and stuff. Right. Yeah. So they sent it. Now I did a little pre-opening because let me just show you the packaging here. This is like quintuple wrapped. It's really impressive. So if you go right there, it is. I was like, I better start opening this. I have not looked at it yet. It was a good idea because it took me about 15 minutes to get through all of that. So the actual blade itself, though, it's really nothing, all that exciting to see here. But you've already seen it. But the point is that this is a heavy grade blade. I'm not going to go and unwrap all this. But it's the same blade that I have right now. It's just that this one, you can really go to town at someone.
Huh, is it the same material, just thicker, or is it a different material?
Well, I think it's the same material and it's thicker and heavier apparently, but either I'm getting super buff or it's not as heavy as I thought it was because it feels normal. It feels super light to me. Maybe I just, have giant biceps. The other thing that I think my biceps are bigger than Lord Thunder's now. The other thing that I wanted to show you was this blade plug. I've not opened it yet. This was the thing they said, we're going to customize the brand new blade plug that they came out with. And we're going to put the TRB logo, which is, on the screen here from the Real Brian Show, that I call it my superhero logo. The TRB logo, they're going to put it on there. So I have not seen it yet, Captain. So let's open this and see what it looks like. I'm excited because what a cool gift, man. This is 10 times wrapped here, but I really appreciate how much this is another sign of protect the merchandise.
They clearly have a shipping department that cares. That's good. Yeah,
I'm still going.
That's a huge deal, by the way. That's a big deal.
This is impressive. Here we. Oh my gosh!
Anyone listening who wants to get one of these, they at least have the peace of mind knowing that it'll probably arrive unbroken.
Yeah, and if it is broken, it's because the postal service decided to, have a try at your lightsaber. I might need a knife. This is impressive, man. I got to tell you, and I just cut my nails, of course. No, I got it. Here we go. Okay, here we go. It emerges. Okay. Wow. This is so nice. Hold on. There's I don't know what that says. It says something. It could be in Klingon. I'm not sure.
I hope it's in Klingon.
If it's a lightsaber. Gosh, dude. Okay, here we go. So as you know, the blade plugs, if you've watched these, they light up. Just going to show these. This is to go in your hilt. So if you don't want the blade in the hilt, and you just want to carry around the hilt and all that, you insert these basically where there's just it's a hole otherwise. So you put them in there and it allows the lightsaber to still work and still use lights and sound and everything like that. And so lights will actually come in around here. There's some lights and all that, but on the very end there, that's where they customized it in close. See that TRB right there? Sweet. Isn't that awesome?
That's awesome.
So that is the TRB logo, the superhero logo. Oh my gosh, that looks awesome. In person, it doesn't do it justice on the camera, but that is awesome. Now I can't wait to see it lit up. I am going to be doing a quick part 2 review showing that lit up, showing the actual blade. And then I also did some custom things where I went in and got some additional sound fonts. There's one that sounds like fire, and it's like, it sounds like you're going, and then it's like, and then it just sounds like blade or fire crackling. And then when you actually do the force effect, it sounds like a flamethrower. And the blade actually looks like there's fire coming up. It's really cool. Another one is from the Duel from Star Wars Visions, the very first episode, which was fantastic. When the samurai Jedi, he very slowly pulls, the blade out, and it's this very slow, very mean sounding growl ignite. It was really, really cool. And I was able to customize that and actually customize how slow the ignition is on the blade.
Interesting. Wow.
I've had fun.
It's neat how much customization you can do with that thing.
Yeah, so there's two boards. This one is a crystal focus, so it's a CFX board, and it's pretty basic. You can do some stuff. Then there's what they call the Profi board, that's where you can program from scratch, and I chose not to do that one just because I don't know programming, but that would be my next saber. If I did, I would do a Profi or something like that that's fully customizable, because I've seen some of the blades these guys can do, and it's amazing. Wow. So I'm excited, but I'm going to showcase that. And there's also a Ghostbusters one, the actual proton pack. And I don't know if you can make the blade look like that, but with the Profi maybe, but with mine, I don't know. But I just think it might be kind of cool actually to do. So
that'd be neat.
Therefore, apparently I am the nerd. I try not to be, but
the biggest.
It just kind of comes out, man. The nerd of all nerds.
Yeah, be proud, man. Just hold your head high and your chest out, and with a giant N on it. People will think you're from Nebraska, but
you guys are the big nerds. Be proud. You got a good cultural heritage. Captain, give us an origin, please, because this one comes straight from the master, the Pants of Hammer himself.
The Hammer Pants himself. Yeah, he sent me a text last week and said, "Hey, I've always wondered what elbow grease, where that came from. Where'd elbow grease come from?" Good question.
Very good question.
I have no idea. Now I do. So first of all, from Wikipedia, the definition is that the elbow grease, or literally elbow oil in French, is an idiom for working hard at manual labor. It is a figure of speech for humorously indicating nothing else but manual work is required. Put a little elbow grease into it. We've all heard that, right?
Oh, yeah.
It is sometimes also reported in the form of a fool's errand, a prank where an apprentice or recruit is sent on an errand to retrieve elbow grease by their supervisor. Do you remember Red versus Blue, the Halo?
I do, and I've only seen a couple of the episodes, but I never watched them all. But which one? The Puma?
They sent the new guy out to get headlight fluid.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's the same thing. It's just a play on the old elbow grease joke.
Oh, that's funny. Like blinker fluid. How come your blinker fluid isn't full?
Right.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
So from the rest I got from phrases.org.uk. It has long been said that the best sort of furniture polish is elbow grease. That is, there is no substitute for hard rubbing to create a lustrous shine. The term itself is older than might be imagined and dates back to at least the 17th century, 1600s, when it was used in print by the English metaphysical poet Andrew Marvell, 2 L's, in Rehearsal Transposed in 1672.
Nice.
And in it he writes, 2 or 3 brawny fellows in a corner with mere ink and elbow grease do more harm than 100 systematical divines with their sweaty preaching.
Wow, that's fascinating writing right there.
Right. Marvel was suggesting that although religious meetings could be disrupted or broken up by the speaker's opponents, printed material could be circulated unhindered. Of course, Marvel was alluding to writing when he used the figurative expression elbow grease. It was also used later in the same century, late in the 1600s, as it is used now, just to mean sweat or effort. An example of that usage is found in the 1699. It's called A New Dictionary of the Terms Ancient and Modern of the Canting Crew.
Okay.
That's the name of the book, from 1699. And in it, they say elbow grease, a derisory term for sweat.
Okay.
The expression's inclusion in that dictionary, which itemizes the language of the streets, suggests that it was a lower class term. So it's kind of like an old school urban dictionary kind of thing. Other countries have expressions that are near enough identical. In French, we have huile de bras, which translates as oil of the arms, or l'huile de coude, which translates as oil of the elbow. And in Danish, we find knofed, and I looked up how to pronounce it. It's
very
knofed,
nice,
which translates as knuckle fat.
Okay.
So the Danes have knuckle fat, the French have oil of the elbow, and the English have elbow grease. So
that's cool.
There you go.
Man. Okay. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yeah. There
Thanks,
you go.
Ed.
Thank you. Yes. Any more origins? Keep them coming. We've still got a list. I think that you're working your way through.
Oh yeah. There's either there's a list or somebody throws one at me. You've thrown a couple at me. I write them down and they're good show fodder. So yeah.
I have to mention Orville, by the way. Right behind me is the Orville. If you are watching, you can see the Orville, and then that's the shuttlecraft. Although, Captain, they changed the shuttlecraft in season 3, which is actually pretty cool. They look a lot better. I was not a huge fan of these, but the new ones are pretty amazing. great start. So I've only watched the first episode. That's all that has been out since the time of us right now doing this. I think the second one is out this week.
They're releasing it in single episodes like most people do these days?
Yeah. So, what they did is just as traditional shows, they were doing more episodes, 42 to 48 minutes long, I think on average. And this one is, I think, about an hour and 18 minutes. And they're saying that it's less episodes, but longer episodes. And apparently they really turned the budget up significantly this season.
Cool.
Hulu picked them up. It's no longer a Fox production. And they really did up the special effects and the budget clearly went up. They redid, they basically did a refit of the Orville, which corresponds with the story and stuff like that too. Good. It's beautiful. This is something I've always wanted to see, back in the day when they did Star Trek The Next Generation. They talked about this, that you would see if you were looking through a window or something into the next room, it would be kind of blurred out. There might not be anything else, or the windows would be clouded because of budget reasons and technology and stuff like that. In this, it's cool. You're in the medical office and you see, the window of the medical office goes into the sick bay. And then there's the window outside that shows what's actually going on in space. Okay. And in that moment, they're in a space dock and they're corresponding with basically getting repairs, and you see things kind of flying in and doing repairs and stuff like that. So big production. They really did some nice job and it looks real. They pulled kind of a, this is for the Star Trek nerds. They pulled very much a Star Trek motion picture, Star Trek II sort of, the ship's done. Let's kind of pan around. Let's do some music. Let's leave space dock very, very slowly. Let's extend that scene out.
Show it off, yeah.
And it was fascinating to me because I'm like, no one does that anymore. And so, and we've said this before, that Seth MacFarlane is a huge Star Trek fan, and he intended Orville to be very Star Trek The Next Generation like, and it is. They've really done a good job. So to me, the first episode, it's very emotional. It's touching at times. There's a lot of more development, in what's going on. Some new characters, a little bit more action at
still
times.
Funny, right?
And then somewhat. It's got its humor moments, but I would say that the humor has dropped down to what I consider to be a natural level. The first couple to few episodes of Orville season 1, I felt like they were trying too hard to be funny. And then as the show's gone on, it's just become, that was completely natural and it was hilarious. You laugh at the moment and stuff like that. So I think they did a really, really nice job of kind of combining it all. It did feel a little slower because it was an hour and 18 minutes, but it was totally worth it. So it's just nice to have it back. And it's been a few years already since season 2 came out. Oh no, let's talk Strange New Worlds because we're talking, Star Trek. Yeah. Tell me your thoughts.
That's my thought. That's my thought about Strange New Worlds.
Yeah. It's like that. So
good. Yes. It's incredibly good. Episode 4, there's 5 episodes. There's, I think, 6th episode comes out today. It came out today, but there's 5 episodes so far. 1 through 3 were great. 4 blew me out of the water. It was really, really good. Just like the level of danger that they were in against this insidious new enemy. And it was just, you can't, by the end of the episode, you just can't believe what happened.
Yeah.
And then episode 5 was a come down from that, as in it was like let's let everyone relax a little bit. And it was a really, how Star Trek does their little like in between episodes where they're kind of, there's a lot of character development.
Yeah.
And it's a little more lighthearted.
Yeah.
See, episode 5 was like that.
Nice.
But it was done really well. It was a lot of character development, but it wasn't like, oh, this is one of those episodes.
It wasn't a filler annoying one. It was just like, let's just take a break and take a breath.
You knew it was a filler, but it didn't feel like it because it was really important character development that went on.
Yeah.
So, and the acting was just bar none. The characters, again, we like all the characters. Both of us do.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas in Discovery, it's kind of hit or miss,
Yep.
Picard, let's just say, to sum it up for me, Strange New Worlds blows Picard out of the water. It blows most of Discovery out of the water. It's the best Trek I've seen for years and years and years and years. It's just... It's almost like they took the original series or the concept of the original series and just upgraded it to the 21st century level of show.
Yeah. I agree. I find Strange New Worlds to be, to me, bold claim here, the best Star Trek I've seen since Enterprise came out. Really.
Yeah, me too.
Easily, and I liked the J.J. Abrams first reboot Star Trek movie. I liked it.
It was all right, yeah.
Yeah, but this is better. This is more Trek-like. This is more, classic to the actual original timeline and the original. Like, to me, I feel like I'm watching a Gene Roddenberry production.
Yes.
For the most part. Maybe not entirely, but for the most part, I feel like Gene Roddenberry is there directing it versus some of the stuff we've seen recently.
So far, it's back in the spirit of what Roddenberry did with Star Trek. Where they're showing instead of they're not rubbing your face in any agendas yet.
No.
They haven't done it yet. Now this is a CBS production, and Discovery is a CBS production, and Discovery is doing things wrong in our opinion in some ways. So far, Strange New Worlds is not doing it that way. It's just pure Trek, and it's wonderful. So I think the hate you're seeing out there, Brian, is just because hate sells, and that's just the paradigm. That's throw hate at throw negativity at people because they gobble it up.
Yeah.
There's really, I don't see any real valid reason to hate this show. I think people who hate it are just trying to find things to hate. So,
well, it's what I've talked about this on the show before, but as a refresher, there's a movie called What the Bleep Do We Know? And it's so fascinating. Yeah, you've seen it. It's a fascinating thing about how, testing water, just in case you guys missed this, testing water in different rooms. In one room is everything's positive, the writing, the music, they go in and they say nice things, and it's a jar of water, essentially, and they're just saying that. And then in the next room, everything's angry and negative and hateful and all that. And they're looking at, does positivity versus negativity affect water? And they found that it did. It changed the structure of the actual water at a chemical level. And they were able to find that. And
I still have a hard time believing it.
I know. And it's because then their whole point is that because there's water in our bodies and, we've got all these fluids in our bodies and everything like that, what they were trying to demonstrate is that the power of negativity on your body actually does change you. And the power of positivity on your body actually does change you. So what they were finding is that people get addicted to negativity and they get addicted to gossip and that kind of thing too. So, I'm having a hard day. Oh, I'm kind of down. I don't really feel anything. I know I'm going to hate somebody and get angry. And then they feel excited. They feel something again. That's why people do it. And it's an addiction. It's an actual chemical change in their body. And so that's why, after I heard that, I was like, I can't let that, when you're having a down day, it's like I'm trying to constantly change that attitude to say I need to be more positive because it will change who I am. So anyway, you're right. If you're looking for hate with Star Trek, you will find it.
If you want,
you'll find it.
With Strange New Worlds, I just have a hard time coming up with it. By the way, it literally is called "What the Bleep Do We Know?" We're not bleeping ourselves out.
Yeah, that's literally the title.
The name of the movie.
Yeah.
So
well,
it's a metaphysical film.
Yeah, exactly. My thought on Strange New Worlds, 100% agree. It's so fun. And like I said, to me, it's the best since Enterprise. I love the character development in Strange New Worlds. I've watched 4 episodes and I feel significantly closer to the characters. I know the characters than I ever did with Discovery. And so to me, I know you liked season 2, Captain, of Discovery, but to me, so far, Strange New Worlds blows Discovery out of the water. And to me, it beats Picard too. I loved Picard in some ways, and in other ways, I felt there was a lot of But to me, this is significantly better than both of those series put together. And yeah, I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I don't know why this is so much better and so different. But I'm impressed.
A little nervous, actually. Yeah, because because with CBS Studios, they're kind of going in that direction we don't like with socially, and and this is showing, this is like old Trek being inclusive, but without pointing it out to anybody, without rubbing your face in it.
Yeah. And that's, it's funny because I was reading some of that and I was reading some comments about what people were thinking. And I don't remember. Oh, it was one of the movie groups and somebody was talking about railing on about how Discovery was super duper shoving agendas down people's throats. Mm-hmm. And an interesting comment that I read was, well, that's no different from the original Gene Roddenberry Star Trek. And then the comments were, well, hold on. Because they said they've been, Gene Roddenberry's been, quote, doing agendas technically since the very beginning. Like, this is what we think the world should be. Or, hey, look, here's the first black woman in a main role. you know,
Right.
that had never been done. So that technically was an agenda according to this person, you know. But then the comment said, well, no, you're right, but they just did it and
Right.
showed it. And here's like it's kind of like follow our example. Here's the way to be. Here's how you love and respect all sort of thing.
Just see our example and just accept it for what it is. That this is how the future is in this world.
Exactly. And then someone else said, yeah. And the whole point is that with Discovery, they feel like it's being like, here we're showing you, and now we need to tell you that this is what we're doing. And we need to tell you that you need to believe this and follow this and do this or else you're an idiot. And it's kind of that
a little bit. It feels
a little more of that. Yeah,
not
it's
quite
not
that blatant,
bad.
but it feels more like that. Yeah.
But I loved that discussion. I didn't participate, but I was just reading it. And I loved that because it did kind of distinguish the fact that, yeah, Gene Roddenberry has done things ever since the beginning, but the difference has been in the approach and the presentation of it. And I feel like the way they've done Strange New Worlds so far has been, I mean, I couldn't imagine it any better in that stance. So I appreciate that.
I feel like Roddenberry would love Strange what they're doing with this show. And I'm just scared to death that they're gonna go Discovery on us. I'm just worried. It's going so well. Not. I'm just worried about it, you know, because it's CBS. So we'll see what they do.
We'll see. I'm with you on this one.
Crossing my fingers.
Yeah. All I'm going to say about Stranger Things, I'm almost done, and it's just been such a great season. And we're talking about doing kind of a final review to get spoilery after, you know, because I know Lord Thunder said episode 7, wow, we have to talk. And have you finished?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then I'll be done soon, and then we'll get in and do a review on that one specifically. All right. A movie. So this was funny. This came out on Netflix, and I got a little notification about this movie called Metal Lords. No idea what this was, but I saw, you know, like a person in a marching band kind of hat and everything. So I thought, let's see what this is. Well, it's interesting. It's kind of in the inspiration of School of Rock a little bit. This involves high schoolers, you know, it's a battle of the bands kind of thing, you know, musicians coming of age, getting better, and then, you know, all that good stuff. Dueling each other, learning the important lessons of life and all that good stuff. And so it's so interesting because watching this movie, and by the way, the movie itself it's okay. It's not like an amazing movie. It's not a family-friendly movie like School of Rock. You know, it's definitely more adult-centered and that kind of thing. But the music in it was incredible. The kid that plays the drums in the movie, the actor, was trained by Alice Cooper's drummer. And you can tell, I mean, as the movie's going on, I mean, when he starts playing at the end, in fact, it's really cool. And I can't remember what the song was, but they do a pop song. And he's playing this metal style on drums to this pop song. So he's got this double bass drum going, you know, and it's just like brrr, really fast, you know, kind of thing. And I'm listening to this pop song and I'm going, boy, that makes it a lot better. This is so cool. And it was so funny because as I'm watching this movie, I'm like getting more and more excited. And so talking with the mad scientist, you know, I clearly the mad scientist has been on the show now a couple times for some of the reviews. He's going to come back on a Friday here soon. We've been hanging out. He's a drummer. And, you know, he and I mean, I've always said he's one of the best drummers I've ever played with. And I've always loved playing with him. But, you know, we're in different states now. But talking about music with him, seeing Metal Lords, going back and even rewatching School of Rock because of this, like I was inspired. And then even my cousins who are musicians as well. And so we were talking about music and stuff like that. The inspiration, oh my gosh, like I think it's been around 9 years that I stopped playing the piano consistently. I mean, I still play on and off, but, you know, 9 years I wasn't doing as much. And then honestly, like for the last 3 years, I don't think I've even touched the piano, which is kind of weird for me. And part of that had to do with the fact that, you know, when I grew up doing music, it was fun, you know. I was trained classically, didn't enjoy that, but I mean, you know, at the time I didn't enjoy it. And now I really appreciate it. And of course, as I got into college, I enjoyed it. But I got to a point where it was like, I need to do music for myself. And so I started composing music and then doing arrangements and stuff and, you know, doing a lot of pop music and soundtracks and stuff. And then we would do rock music with our band. And so we just had a really, really good time. And then a bunch of junk happened and music became associated with very painful, horrific, you know, traumatic situations.
Right. That makes sense.
And then, which isn't good. And then also I was doing it professionally. And so I was playing music other people wanted me to play and music that I didn't like and would never really want. And so the motivation to play really fell off pretty significantly. And it's like in the back of my mind, I'm like, look, I know I'm a good pianist. I'm confident enough in my musicianship to say that I can hold my own with the best, right? I haven't played much lately, so maybe not. But I was just like, dang, I need to play again. I want to play again, but I don't want to force it because it's a need. I want to do it because it's a desire again. And I've said this before that I'm desiring more and more to play, but I just haven't had that. It's like I'm not over the hump kind of thing. Yeah, it's something. And so
I can relate.
Between these three things, talking with the mad scientist, seeing Metal Lords and School of Rock again, and then talking with my cousins about music and stuff, it's like I really want to play again, like really, really badly. And what I don't want to do is go do something everyone else wants me to do. I want to find a way to compose again. The technology's changed. My keyboards are ancient. I need to get some kind of a new MIDI controller and a program or something that can do it. But I really want to do it, and I want to experiment. Like I would love to do some Millennium style music. Like just go, I'm just going to mess with this and see what I can come up with. I'm not trying to copy him, but just kind of get inspired by that. So, man, I got to tell you, it was awesome. And then I was watching this video of David Guetta, who did Titanium, and he was doing a step-by-step tutorial on how he was remixing it. And he was showing, okay, I'm going to do this now. And here's, Shia, her Sia, Saya, Shia, her voice, she has a great voice. And he's like, he's taking her vocal track and he's like, I'm going to add a little this to that. I'm going to give this effect. And he's telling you what you're doing. And I was just like, this is really cool, actually. I'd never done this. So.
It's really neat when people can do stuff with it. I mean, when you become adept at using that software, and there's various ones out there for creating and modifying music, it's pretty cool what people can do with that. I do know one thing, because that you with auto-tune now, you don't need to sing well at all to put vocals on a track now.
I know, it's kind of sad.
Auto-tune will just take your voice and just make it sound auto-tuney. Even if you sing really sharp or flat or way off key, whatever.
It's literally just like you drag a note and it fixes the pitch. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I know way too many. I've experienced them at concerts. Way too many studio made bands and musicians, because when they get on stage, you're just like, ooh, that's painful. And I trained as a performance-based musician. So if you mess up, everyone hears it. And so I had to learn how to not mess up. I'm not good at studio stuff because it's so much more technical. And so, I'm trying to figure out a way to just say, let me just play, let me just perform, and then I can go in and like fix something if I need to, but I don't want to mess up. And if it's bad, I'm going to go back and re-record it. But I don't know, dude, I'm excited. So Metal Lords, all I'm going to say to you is you may not have been the best movie in the world, but the music was amazing. And you inspired me to play again. So thank you.
Great.
Little PSA announcement.
Was there metal in Metal Lords, please?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, they were trying to start. So the premise is they're trying to start a metal band. It's two friends from like elementary school that are in high school, and they're trying to do Battle of the Bands.
You kept mentioning pop music and stuff. I'm like,
the other band that they were battling against was more of a pop kind of, popular music kind of band. And it was just fun because it's pretty funny, but like I said, and the girl, dude, oh my gosh, the girl in it, she is Scottish in real life, and she plays a Scottish girl. And so her accent's very thick, and it was just fun to listen to her. She played cello and was classically, and he was like, here's some metal music, come play. And she's like, well, I don't play bass, And just like in School of Rock, the bassist played cello, except she picked up the bass and learned it.
Okay.
Well, in this movie, she just played cello with heavy metal electric guitar and metal drumming. And I was just like, oh, and it worked. Oh my gosh.
It works.
It was so cool. I love the creativity. So speaking of music, I've got a couple of songs here I want to share. And by the way, this is a huge shout out to, again, Paul, my cousin, who said, have you ever heard of Zoe Johnston? And I'd never heard of her, but of course, she does a lot with Above and Beyond. And I do love Above and Beyond.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so I'm going to play this Zoe Johnston stuff for you. I think you'll like it. So many good songs that he suggested, but one that I was just blown away by, it's called Treasure. And Paul was saying, lyrically, it's a great song and everything too. And it is, but my gosh, it's like this soothing, ethereal, kind of mesmerizingly beautiful sound in the background. And it's just, I don't even know how to say it, but it's like the music just permeates everywhere. It's beautiful. So thank you, Paul. That was amazing. I have to throw this one for the Stranger Things watchers and fans right now. This song is To Keep Vecna Away, by the way. Kate Bush, Running Up the Hill from 1985. And Captain, I'd mentioned this to you and Lord Thunder. I was like, I cannot believe that I had literally never heard this song before. I don't know how I missed it.
I've heard it a lot before. I've heard it a lot in the last few years on my 80s Spotify mixes.
Yeah.
But so I when they started playing it, I was like, hey, I know that song, but I think they kind of overdid it in this season. That's really my only real complaint about the latest season of Stranger Things is that they overplayed that one song. It's a great song. I love it. I love Kate Bush, but they did play it a lot. And
just to clarify, so like it was a beautiful, 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 one of the best moments in the season when that song was played initially. And I mean, like, I want to go back and rewatch it. I literally like almost had tears. I was just so blown away by how well that scene was done. I don't cry, man.
It reminded me of the scene in Donnie Darko where they played Tears for Fears. It was a lot like that scene. It was just a very well choreographed scene to music. So
yeah. All I'm going to say is that Kate Bush song, I've been enjoying it, and I've been listening to it, and I can't get it out of my head. So thanks, Duffer Brothers.
Now I have it in my head again. Thank you.
We'll figure it out. All right, my last one here. I love Sigrid. I'm a huge fan of Sigrid. Feels like everything she puts out, I like. She did a nice little duo here with Bring Me the Horizon, also very good, and it's called Bad Life. Oh my gosh. I'm listening to this song, and I'm like, I'm being like lifted up right now. I'm being positively, we're talking about positive, we want to, yeah. I'm going to share some of these lyrics because I feel like it's a very hopeful, positive song that's needed right now in the world. And so it's cool. They talk about when the world is on your shoulders and the weight of your own heart is too much to bear. I'm not going to sing this, guys. I'm sorry.
No.
I know that you're afraid things will always be this way. It's just a bad day, not a bad life. I love that. And then they go on to say, I know it feels so hopeless. I know how close you are to the edge right now. So I wrote this song to say things won't always be this way. It's just a bad day, not a bad life.
I love it.
As I'm listening to this song over and over, and I shared it with Sarah, and she's like, I love this song. And I'm like, this is such a good reminder. Circumstances happen. Bad days happen. But it's not a bad life.
Even in the best of lives. And a lot of people, when they're having a really bad day or even a bad week, it's easy to think that, my life is awful and things are just bad all over and stuff. But it's always good to be reminded that that's not the case typically.
Yeah.
For most of us, it's just a bad day or a bad week.
I alluded to this earlier that things have been tough, and I've definitely been struggling a lot, and I've had some pretty discouraging time, in the last, recent months, let's call it that. Mm-hmm. And so, sometimes you just need people to kind of lift you up, and whether or not they're doing it intentionally or not, it doesn't matter. But that level of encouragement's amazing. And that's what I was trying to say in the beginning too, with when my cousins were here. They didn't do anything specific. They were just them. They were being themselves. And that alone lifted me up in a way that I don't feel like I've been lifted up in so long. I can't remember. And it was partly who they are. It was partly their joy and their positivity and their attitude on life. It was partly just beautiful, deep conversations. And it was partly the wonderful, just fun, ridiculous, just have fun, play games, laugh for dumb reasons, kind of moments, in these conversations. And there's just something needed in that. So I really, man, if you're struggling right now in some way or another, having a bad day right now, just please continue to watch the show, listen to the show. I hope we're an encouragement to you. We are trying to do it in a way that's like, let's be serious. Let's acknowledge, let's talk, let's lift you up. I hope that by the time you're done with the episode, you are better. You have a better day. You feel better after the episode. But then we're also doing a nice mix of, okay, let's have fun. Let's talk about Star Trek and lightsabers and, who's the biggest nerd or who's the nerd of all nerds and stuff. We gotta have that balance, And so, what do they call that? Like empathy and levity. Oh, that was little nice words. So
yeah, I feel like talking like this the rest of the episode.
Yeah, Captain, that's a happy little tree over there. And if you make a mistake, you can always,
Deep
do
Thoughts with Captain Influence.
Kids used to make fun of me when I smeared grease on my elbows, but after getting a few bruised ribs and grease stains on their shirts, they finally left me alone.
Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, do you think anyone took me seriously at all today?
It's 15 minutes after the hour here on TRBNPR. I never take you seriously, Captain, but
Okay, good.
all I'm telling you is you need to vote to see who the nerd of all nerds is. Who's winning the title? Who's the better gamer? Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. Real Brian Show, signing
The
off.
Real Brian Show is a production of 514 Media at 514mediaempire.com.